It is June the 16th, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far today. If my voice sounds raspy, or I keep clearing my throat, or like scratching my eyes, my face seems really red, I don't know what I got into today. I've been outside doing yard work all day today. I got up early this morning and got out in the yard. The rain that we've had lately has made my grass grow like massively big. So it took me a while to cut my grass today and weed eat and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know what it was that I got into. But obviously I'm allergic to it. It's got my eyes itching really bad. They're all swollen and red. And my voice is going. I don't know. It's just bothering the heck out of me right now. So anyway, like I said, if my face is red, I think I'm sunburnt, and if you keep hearing me clear my throat and my eyes look like they're really swollen or whatever, I'm allergic to something out here. I have no idea what it is. But anyway, while I was outside doing yard work today, I was thinking to myself about something, back when I was a drinker, and, when I used to cut my grass when I was a drinker, and how I could never, ever get stuff done when I was in active addiction. Anything, just like something as simple as cutting my grass. Because I would get out there, and first thing in the morning, I'd get up, just like any other day, I'd get up and have a couple of drinks. And I knew I had to get outside and do my yard work. So I'd get up, and first thing I'd do, like I said, is have a couple of drinks just to get the shakes to go away. And then most of the time, if I had yard work to do, I had to go to the store. So I would drive to the store, get myself a 12-pack of beer, because I had to have a 12-pack to do my yard work. That was like the ritual. And it's crazy how we set these like rituals up as well. If I cut grass, I drank beer. I didn't drink liquor. I'm out in the sun all day long. It would make me get drunk really quick, really bad, and I had stuff to do. But I'm going to get to a point, that I never got it done anyway. That's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Like I said, here I am, first thing in the morning, I'm driving to the gas station, going to fulfill my ritual. I'd have to go and get myself my 12-pack of beer, and I never drank like IPAs or anything like that when I did yard work. Now, I did drink light beer when I did yard work. And I might buy a case of beer, who knows, because if I had a lot of yard work to do, I knew it was going to take me a couple of days to do it. If I had 2 days off and I wanted to do 2 days worth of yard work, I'd go ahead and buy a case. And I'd buy a bag of ice, and I'd go to my house, and I'd dump all of those beers in the cooler that I kept in the back of my vehicle, because I always had a cooler in the back of my car. At any car that I drove, there was a cooler in the back. So I'd dump all my beer back there and I'd get outside and get started on my yard work with a beer in my hand. That little beer cup holder on the lawnmower, because I've had a riding lawnmower now for 20 years or something like that. I bought a brand new one years and years ago at Lowe's. Crazy. I think I paid like $700 for a brand new riding lawnmower 20 years ago, and now they're like $3,000, $3,500 for a riding lawnmower. It's insane how much they've gone up in price. But anyway, I'd get on my riding lawnmower, throw my beer in the little cup holder and get started. And each little section of grass that I had in my yard, I knew how many beers I would drink in that little section. I know that sounds insane, but that's what it did. There was one corner of my yard in our old house, because we lived here at this house for, I think I drank for 2 years that we lived here. It wasn't an extremely long amount of time. I didn't do a whole lot of yard work here, but at our other house in the neighborhood that we used to live in, we lived there for 16 years. So I did a lot of yard work there. In each one of the sections of the yard, there was a big section. If you walked out the front door, there was a big section of yard on the right-hand side. We lived on a corner lot, so there was a big section over there, and then it went along the side of the road. I knew that little section right there was like 3 beers, and then there was a small little section to the left-hand side on the other side of my driveway that went from the street back up to the corner of the house. That would be like 1 beer. And then I would do the backyard, which I had fenced in just a portion of my yard. We had a really big lot at our old house, like about an acre, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but for a neighborhood, it was pretty big. But I only had fenced in one section, so I had to go out there and do the backyard, and then I had to do the back section of the yard, which was outside of the privacy fence, and it actually ran on a power line. But my backyard was like 3 to 4 beers before we got our swimming pool put in there, and then it turned to be like 1 beer because I just go back there real quick. And then after I got done with that, I went to the back section of the yard, and that would be like 3 beers because it was a pretty big section of just straight grass back there. Even thinking about this right now, just brings back a lot of memories. So many days on that lawnmower just drinking beer. But anyway, my point is that, like I said, I knew that each little section of that yard, how many beers it would take for me to get each section done. And I would hop off the lawnmower, grab myself a brand new cold beer, throw the other one off, and then start drinking that one. And I didn't want to leave them in the cup holder for too long because the lawnmower would shake the beer up to the point that it would get flat, and there'd get dust and dirt all over the part of the can that you drink out of. So I just held it in my hand. So here I am on my lawnmower in a neighborhood, early in the morning, riding around with a beer in my hand, and I didn't have a koozie on it because I didn't want to get dirt all over it. So I just would ride around with, Bud Light can or Coors Light can or something like that right there in my front yard. Everybody sees me out there first thing in the morning, and it was normal because, most of the guys in my neighborhood, they drank beer when they cut their grass too. I just did it on off days. They did it on the weekends. I would do it on a Monday or Tuesday when I was off. But anyway, my point to all this whole video is that, I would get each one of these little sections done, but I still had to weed eat my yard. There was a whole lot of other things I needed to do, trim my bushes, edge everything. And I kept a really nice yard. I wanted to make sure that my stuff looked good. I had a lot of plants and pots that I had to make sure that they looked okay. Sometimes I'd have to top them off a little bit more soil. I had a big garden in the backyard that I had to tend to. There was a lot of stuff. Our backyard, we had a big pool back there with concrete going all around, and I had all kinds of plants and trees back there. I mean, it was a beautiful garden area back there. I had so many different kinds of fruit trees, cherry trees, and apple trees, peach trees, and these are not little baby trees either, because I had planted them right when we moved into the home. And all these trees gotten big. We had lemon trees back there and blueberry bushes. I mean, just a lot of different stuff. So I had to take care of all these plants. I would, get the yard work done, the grass cut on the riding lawnmower with these grandiose ideas and plans of all this other yard work that I was going to get done that day. But by the time that I got done just cutting the grass on the riding lawnmower, I was already buzzed. I was already feeling, I don't want to do this anymore. And, it was important for me to get that yard work done in that day because, I could go do other things other than just yard work if I had 2 days off. But instead of just getting it all done in one day, which I physically could have done, I had the energy to do it, I would start feeling that buzz and go, the heck with doing all of this. I'm done with this. Now I want to switch over to the real deal. Now I'm ready to get, really wasted drunk. Now I'm ready to get on my liquor. So I'd get off my riding lawnmower with plans of getting back on later. I'd say, or actually I'd already cut all of my grass. I just planned on going back outside and getting other stuff done, like the weed eating, the edging, blowing everything off with the big leaf blower and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there was a lot to do. So I'd go sit on my back porch. I'd mix myself a drink. I'd sit back there, kick my legs up. I used to turn my little mister on back there and the fan. And I would just sit back there, and before you know it, I've had 4 or 5 cocktails, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing any more yard work today. This is what I'm going to be doing the rest of the day. And, I was so proud of myself, too. Here I am texting my wife and telling her, I got the grass cut today, and, I'm all proud of myself, and I deserve to drink because I did yard work. I did all the hard stuff around the yard, so now I deserve to get as drunk as I feel like it today. So I would start pounding the liquor, sitting on my back porch. And I wasted the whole day away, getting wasted drunk. And then I would wake up the next morning and still had all this other stuff that I needed to get done. And I'd have to go out there hungover as all get out and try to get that stuff finished. And it never got done. All of my stuff used to get so backed up, and I had so much stuff that I wanted to get accomplished, and I could not get it done because all I wanted to do was get drunk. And even now, with having liver disease and chronic pancreatitis and diabetes and all of these chronic illnesses and problems, and I don't feel good a lot of the time, I can get more done now being sober and sick than I could have ever gotten done when I was in active addiction, because I could never dedicate myself to anything. I always had to break loose to go get drunk. That's all I ever cared about. Now, if I need to get something done, I didn't feel good today, but I was like, you know what? I've got stuff I have to do. I want to get this yard work done because I have other things I want to accomplish this week, so I'm going to get it all done today. And I just pushed myself. I got out here, I started cutting the grass. I did not want to get up and weed eat after I was done. My back was hurting me. My stomach was bothering me. But I said, you can do it. You can push through this. I got off the lawnmower, got the weed eater. It didn't want to start right, and stuff like that never works out. In the middle of cutting the grass, I realized that the air in the lawnmower, the tires needed air in the lawnmower. They weren't turning, the wheels weren't turning correctly because there was no air in the tire. So, I had to fill the tires up, then I had to work on the weed or get it started. It's just stuff never works out when you're trying to get stuff done like that. But I did. I got the weed eater started, finally got it running, went out here, weed eated everything. I didn't stop, even though I was tired and I wanted to. My mind kept telling me, go ahead and stop. You're tired. Just go ahead and quit for the day. And I kept telling myself, no, you can finish this. Keep going. And I kept pushing, got that stuff done, and I managed to get all of my yard work done today. And when I got finished and I looked around at everything that I'd accomplished, I actually got on my tractor and filled in a bunch of dirt that had gotten washed out since we've had all the rain here lately. We had a huge crater over there on the side of our yard, but I didn't want to fill it because there's rain on the forecast every single day. So I was like, why fill that up and it's just going to get washed out again? So we don't have rain on the forecast for today, I don't think, maybe tonight, but there's like 2 more days left this week of rain. So today I went ahead and got the tractor out and filled it up with a bunch of dirt and got all those places taken care of, got my grass cut, weed eated. I got a lot of stuff accomplished today. And to think that I can do more now than I could do back then is just insane to me. But it just shows how when we're in active addiction, that's all we care about. That is it. You might have these great ideas and be super motivated the night before when you're drinking. You're sitting there thinking to yourself, I feel great right now. I'm gonna do all this stuff tomorrow. You're telling other people, you're making a list, and checking it twice and telling yourself, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do all these things. You're telling yourself that the night before as you're feeling like $1 million. And then the next morning when you wake up, you don't feel so great. And then none of that stuff gets accomplished. Maybe you get up and try to get it done, and maybe you get a couple of small things done, but you don't get all of it done. And that's the problem with it, is that when we're in active addiction, that is our main drive, our main focus in life, is just getting intoxicated. Nothing else matters to us. It's like I was talking about, I think it was yesterday's video or the day before, that my whole entire life was dedicated to getting drunk. I had stopped caring about anything else. I didn't care about myself. I didn't care about my family. I didn't care about my job. I didn't care. Because all I cared about was, where's my next bottle going to come from? Where's my next drink going to come from? That's all that mattered to me. And on those days when I had to get outside and get yard work done, that's all that mattered was, okay, I had my couple of beers. I got the grass at least cut. Now I'm feeling great. Now I'm going to stop in the middle of doing this stuff because now it's time to move on to the liquor. And like I said, I'd go sit on my back porch, throw my legs up, turn the fan on, start drinking the liquor, and then I'd really start buzzing. I remember just sitting back there all the time. I sat in the chair the same way every single time. Every single time. I sat in my chair, turned myself to the side, put both of my feet up on it. The chair had little arm holders on it, and I would have my legs just kicked up on the table. That's how I sat every single day. Every single day. That little spot on my back porch became my home. And like I said, when I was out there trying to get my yard work done, I would stop doing it right in the middle of it and just go sit on the back porch and tell myself, I'm just going to have a couple of drinks and then I'll get back out here and get the rest of it finished. I'd walk around the yard taking pictures, sending them to my wife, trying to let her know that I'd done all this stuff, that I deserved to get drunk today. Don't be angry at me when you come home because I got all this stuff done. I deserve to get drunk. And I went to work. I deserve to drink today. So don't be angry at me. I'm sending her all this stuff. I used to do it every single time. It was like I was asking for permission from my wife to get drunk that day. Because if she came home and found me wasted drunk again, she was going to be upset. So I had to let her know. I worked so hard today. Please don't get angry at me when you come home and find me passed out, because that was what was going to happen, and I knew it. I knew that when she came home, I'd be out for the day because I started drinking at 7 o'clock in the morning, and by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was seeing double. I didn't know what was going on, and every single time that happened, I went and laid in my bed, and before I knew it, I was waking up. It was 9 o'clock at night. Everybody in the house is moving around. I'm super confused. I don't know what's going on. I get up, walk into the kitchen. My kids are at the table having dinner. My wife had to make them dinner again. And I'm supposed to be the one that's responsible for doing that. That's just my job. But she cooked them dinner that night because I was wasted drunk in the bedroom. She would come home, close the bedroom door so the kids didn't have to see me in there. Just thinking about that makes me so sad that my kids would come home and the first thing that she had to do was go into the bedroom and close the door. It's pretty sad. I'm sure my kids are probably like, where's my dad at? And, I wonder what my wife told them, Dad doesn't feel good or whatever. And now Dad really doesn't feel good. And I wonder if now when I really don't feel good, if they think to themselves, oh, he'll be okay. It was just, just like the old days. But I was just hungover then. I don't know. The point of today's video, like I said, is that when I was in active addiction, I couldn't get anything done. And when we get sober, we can get so much more done in our life. We can be so much more productive. We really can. And it's one of the best things about sobriety is that when you find something that you enjoy doing, something that you really enjoy to do, and you pour yourself into that instead of pouring the bottle down your throat, it's crazy. The time flies, you're enjoying what you're doing, you're being so productive. It's just insane the amount of stuff that you can get accomplished after you get sober versus when you're in active addiction. No more broken promises. No more I'm going to get this done tomorrow and it never gets done. No, if you say that you're going to do something, you actually do it. And it's just crazy to think about how much different our lives become from addiction to sobriety. It's crazy to think about. If you're watching this video right now and you're sitting at home and you got that bottle in your hand and you're so tired of drinking that and you just want out and, you've been thinking to yourself that you really need to stop doing this and you want to get sober, it's possible. I promise you it is. The only thing I will say is that before you try getting sober, please speak with a doctor because quitting alcohol or benzodiazepines abruptly can be life-threatening. It can be very, very dangerous. You can have seizures. A lot of things can go wrong. Please speak with a doctor before you attempt to get sober and just go quitting cold turkey. That's where the problems arise. Speak with a doctor. Let your doctor say what they want to do from here. Let them know how much you're drinking. Be completely honest with them. They're not going to judge you. They're not going to judge you. They're there to help you. Go to your doctor, tell them how much you're drinking, how often you've been drinking and all that, and be completely 100% honest with them and let them make that decision. And whenever they say and whatever they say, go for what your doctor says, but you can get sober. It can be done. I was drinking a half a gallon of vodka a day at the end of my drinking, and I was able to stop. Yeah, I went through a medical detox in the hospital, and it helped me in ways that I'll never be able to explain, because I never could get over that hump. I just could not get over the hump. But being in the hospital, I finally was able to get over that hump, and I almost lost my life. So, it was a really big wake-up call for me. It told me that I had, two paths I could go down from this point. I can continue to drink and lose my life within a matter of time, a matter of weeks probably, or days. Or I can not drink and go down this other path, and I don't know how long I'll live, but I can keep pushing forward and keep fighting, and every day will be a blessing. And I decided to take the other path and take the one that, where I quit drinking. And it's been the best thing that ever happened to me, and it could be the best thing that ever happened to you as well. I promise you it can be. Is it easy? No. It's hard. It's about adjusting the way that you think, about the way you interact with life, and figuring out how to deal with our emotions, because for a lot of us, including myself, anytime that emotion happens, we drink. We use alcohol or a substance as a means to deal with our emotions. I did that for my whole entire life. 26 years or something like that, I did that. Every single time I got happy, sad, mad, whatever it was, I drank because of it. That was my go-to for everything. Instead of actually dealing with those emotions, working through those emotions, figuring out how to deal with those emotions. When I get angry now, I don't explode and break things. Back then I did. I did not know how to deal with anything. I was, when I quit drinking, I was 42 years old, with the mind of a 16-year-old. Yeah, I truly was. I was so immature. And it took me stopping drinking to finally start to mature to my age. Because I truly was, I truly did have the mind of a teenager at 42, when I was still drinking. I hadn't dealt with anything. From the time I was a teenager, I'd never dealt with any of my emotions. And still to this day, they're still difficult to deal with, but I deal with them. And I know I'm getting so far off topic right now, but I don't know. I just let these videos go how they go. So, like I said, if you're at home watching right now and you've got that bottle in your hand and you're thinking about getting sober, it can be done. And you can get back to being productive again. If every single one of your days off is wasted away, getting wasted drunk, or laying in the bed all day long, or laying on the couch all day long, trying to just deal with your hangover, or every single day that you have to go to work, before you go to work, you lay in your bed, and then when you get home from work, you're just laying in your bed or laying on your couch or sitting on your couch the rest of the afternoon, just drinking beer and drinking your entire life away. There's a way out of that. There is. It takes hard work and dedication and fighting through those feelings and realizing that when you get those feelings that it's going to pass. Just let it pass, and don't run to the store every time you get that feeling that you want to have a drink. Like I said, you can work through it. We can be so much more successful when we get sober, so much more, like I said, productive and proactive. We can get things done again. We can get things cleaned up again. We can keep our house clean, our car clean. We can get our yard work done. We can organize that garage on our day off like we actually wanted to. We can do the spring cleaning in our house. We can wax our car like we said that we were going to do 4 years ago and never got to it. We're going to change the oil in our lawnmower that hasn't been changed in 10 years because we keep putting it off every year. There's always a tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. All of these things can get done. You can get the oil changed in your vehicle like you said that you were going to do, but you haven't done 6,000 miles ago because every single one of your days off, you're hungover. You have all of these things that are piling up that you want to get done, and you can't because all of your time is spent feeling hungover or being drunk. I know all about it. I did it for so many years. I wasted away so much time. Don't do the same thing I did. Don't waste away most of your life just drinking alcohol, being drunk, and sleeping when you have an opportunity to do so, because that's what I did. And that's why I come on here every single day and talk about this and tell stories from my life and things that happen to me so that others won't do the same thing. So with that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that wherever you're at, you know, whoever you are that's watching this right now, I hope that in your sobriety that you have found more productivity and more success in life and getting all those things done that you wanted to actually achieve, because I feel like since I've gotten sober, so much stuff has happened and I've been able to get so much more done and be so much more productive, and it's just insane to see the difference in my life, and I hope that you're able to see the difference in yours as well. So with that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here for today. Like I said, thank you so much for watching. And until tomorrow, I will see you all then. Y'all have a great rest of your day. I love you guys so much.